All right, so Kyle O'Reilly, you were fresh off a return to AEW after a little time off. Talk to me about the injury and the recovery process and just how it feels to be back.
Yeah, I mean, injuries in this game are just something that we have to deal with, right? That's the game we play. Unfortunately, all injuries seem to go on their own timing, never when the timing is ideal, right? So, yeah, it was unfortunate timing, coming off of a couple big wins with, over John Moxley and a big singles pay-per-view match. Unfortunately, I had to bow away for, a couple of months just dealing with kind of a nagging sort of neck issue. Seems to be par for the course for me, but I'm feeling great now, and I'm eager to be back at work and very eager to be back in the ring.
So when you're having that kind of downtime away from the ring, what do you do to keep yourself busy? Do you have like other hobbies that you take up during that time?
Well, first and foremost, my main priority is getting well again. So, I mean, rehab is a big part of it, taking care of what needs to be done. But yeah, I'm a family man. I love to spend time, at home, cooking, listening to music, playing with my daughter, playing my bass guitar. She likes to rock out on the drums. There's some pretty dynamic jam sessions. Yeah, that kind of thing. I love getting out in nature, going on trails. I love writing and reading and all sorts of just sort of low-key, at-home activities.
Now, talk to me about it, because obviously I'm a writer. Talk to me about writing. What do you like to write?
I'm a big Stephen King fan. I love all horror lit fiction. So yeah, I've always dabbled in creative writing. It's been sort of a passion project of mine since I was in high school along with wrestling, but I've never really had the courage to ever put anything out there, but that doesn't mean I won't eventually get to that point. And that's something that is 100% a long-term goal for me, is to eventually get, a little book of short stories out, or even, a novel if possible.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned the bass guitar, and I know that a lot of people love how you play the air guitar on the way to the ring. How long have you been into music, like playing music, I mean, not just listening to it?
Oh man, the bass was something that I'd kind of always been interested in, but never really picked up until COVID, when everyone sort of picked up some new hobbies and activities
Yeah.
during COVID when we were stuck at home. So I finally went out, just got myself a cheap bass and an amp, and just started doing the YouTube self-tutorial method. And, that's going on almost 6 years now. So I wouldn't say I'm advanced by any means, but it's something that really calms me, helps with my anxiety, and just helps me zone in and just kind of brainstorm a little bit, whether it's about wrestling or just absolutely anything. It's a fun activity that I enjoy.
What kind of bass are you
Unrelated
using?
to the air guitar. The
Yeah.
air guitar is, I play left-handed like Jimi Hendrix style.
What kind of bass are you using right now?
I've got a Music Man Stingray that I absolutely love.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now,
It's Tim Comerford edition, so it's pretty sweet. I really enjoy it.
I was going to ask you, is there like a type of air guitar that you're specifically playing, but to you it's the Jimi Hendrix guitar?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah, right? Might as well go with the
Nice.
greatest.
Now, you came back and obviously had a big moment. You won the trios titles in your first match back, which is also your first championship in AEW. How did it feel to come back to such a big moment and get that kind of reaction from the crowd?
Yeah, extremely special. Just to come back and, nothing in life is guaranteed from a life standpoint, let alone a matches standpoint, a chance to make, moments happen in wrestling. None of those are guaranteed. So the fact that I did get to come home at all, come back to the ring at all is a blessing in itself, let alone, to happen in my hometown and to win a championship. I mean, that's extremely special. And to have, my family was there, my friends were there. It was a really special, high stakes, emotional night for sure.
And you got to do it alongside Roddy, who you've known for a long time, and Orange Cassidy, who's in the conglomeration with you guys as well. So that must have made it extra special.
Absolutely. Extra special, 100%. Teaming with those guys has just been just so awesome for my career in every aspect. And I can't get enough of it. Conglomeration for life.
Now, speaking of the conglomeration, I know that the sitcom kind of music video and vibe you guys have set up has really been enjoyable for a lot of fans. are you a fan of sitcoms in general? Like, is that something you enjoy, or was that all kind of just new to you when you were doing the video?
Oh yeah, I mean we all, everyone in the conglomerate, I think, kind of grew up around the 90s, and so the 90s sitcom vibe, we were all gung-ho and on board and totally got it, and all the references, 90210, like the intro theme song for the conglomeration video, just like all those things. I absolutely have a blast with it, and it is something that's unique that, as far as I know, I don't think has really been done much in wrestling before. So the fact that we get to do something new that gets our creative juices flowing and gets us to have fun, but doesn't take away from our performance in the ring, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, so it was especially fun with the segment right before the match with Orange Cassidy on the couch and you busting through the door like Kramer.
Yeah,
So
exactly. I love
it was just fun. So I did want to do a little something with you before I move on to the martial arts, because I want to talk to you a little bit about that. I'm going to name each person in conglomeration. Tell me which sitcom you think that person would actually fit best in. You want to do that?
Wow, okay. Yeah, let's try.
All right, let's just start with you. What sitcom do you feel like you would actually belong in?
This is a lot harder than I was expecting. Let's go, I'll be the fourth uncle in Full House.
Okay, what about Mark Briscoe?
Oh, Mark Briscoe, Sanford and Son.
That's the perfect answer. What about Orange Cassidy?
Orange Cassidy, I think it's not really a sitcom, but he'd fit right in on 90210. I think that kind of fits in with the whole vibe we're going for, yeah?
Definitely. Now, what about Big Tom, Tomohiro Ishii?
Big Tom, maybe he would be on Family Matters.
Okay, I can see that. What about Willow?
Willow would be on Step by Step.
That's a pretty good fit. Now, I know he's not really in the group at the moment, but Rocky Romero.
Rocky Romero, I Love Lucy.
There you go. And then last but not least, Roddy Strong.
Roddy Strong, man. Let's go with Saved by the Bell. He'd be perfect. As Slater's arch nemesis.
There you go. All right. So I did want to talk to you about martial arts. I spent a long time doing martial arts. I was an instructor for years. So anytime I get a chance to talk to one of you guys who's done some real training, I enjoy it. You're a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, correct?
Correct.
What have you studied any other forms, or is jiu-jitsu the primary thing you've been learning?
Yeah, basically, first and foremost, I just didn't really do any martial arts or amateur wrestling growing up or in high school. It wasn't until I started doing professional wrestling that I found martial arts and sort of started to implement it into my wrestling style, just because I really kind of enjoyed that style. And I would try and do things like kickboxing and jiu-jitsu moves in my pro wrestling, but I hadn't actually trained before, so you could tell something was off. It wasn't really done properly. So once I started actually training for real and getting that footwork down, and then it would help with my timing and just my overall presentation in the ring. And so, yeah, it really just started as a way to supplement my pro wrestling training, and it's something I obviously, fell in love with and really enjoy still doing, and is, great exercise, if nothing else. But, yeah, that's kind of how my whole martial arts journey went and started.
Nice. Now, you mentioned the footwork, and that was something I actually wanted to bring up, because you do something that I wish every wrestler did when they throw a roundhouse, is that you actually pivot on your foot.
Yeah, right.
Which a lot of people don't understand the power dynamics behind it, and that a lot of the power comes from the hip movement and not the leg being thrown.
Yeah, right.
And I think one of the reasons that your kicks look so real and so brutal is because you have that extra bit of movement in there. Mm-hmm. And it's just one of those things that I personally appreciate when I watch one of your matches, because, it's hard for me, having all that experience, not to sit there and go, well, that doesn't look like an effective kick from a world champion. But, right. then I see you throwing kicks that look like they would actually knock a grown man on their butt, but you're doing it safely, and it's just a really impressive part of your repertoire. So I really appreciate that you have actually gone out and made the effort to learn that stuff and then associate it into your wrestling style. It's great.
Yeah. I appreciate you saying that and for noticing it. I take a lot of pride in that. Yeah, pivoting on that foot, getting the hip turned over, those are huge things that I didn't do before learning how to throw a proper roundhouse. You know what I mean? Watch my matches before 2007 on my kicks look nowhere near like that. So yeah, that's the thing. That's muscle memory over time. That's repetitions. You know, the 10,000 kicks analogy, right? So those are things that will come with. But like, yeah, I wish more people who would want to implement kicks and different strikes into their move set and skill set. You know, go actually out and actually learn how to do them.
Now, your skill as a wrestler has been well documented for a long time. Is becoming a trainer something you think might be in the cards for you down the line?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. To some degree, I figure I'll always be involved in wrestling, whether that's as a trainer, you know, or, you know, wrestling into my 70s, or, you know, as a producer, a coach. Like, there's so many avenues to take in wrestling. I certainly love training. You know, I spent a few weeks up in British Columbia recently and going to their local dojo where I originally trained, and just seeing the huge influx of talent from that area now. It's just incredible to see how talented all the guys and girls are getting these days. And, you know, they're influenced by my generation, which blows my mind. You know, now we're the old guys coming in, but it's really cool. And, yeah, I mean, you know, seems like there's a lot of schools out there now, but that's definitely not outside my comfort zone into potentially maybe training someday. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, with regards to you being a veteran, you obviously have a lot of experience with quite a few members of the AEW roster, but there's also people you've never had a chance to face before. Who are some of the people that you've had an eye on that have really impressed you that you'd like to mix it up with?
Two guys that I think are both just studs, that are young and hungry guys, are, you know, Danny Garcia and Wheeler Yuta, two guys I'd really love to have singles matches with. You know, and I'd love to have another crack at Kyle Fletcher, the Battle of the Kyles. You know, you look at the rosters, they're who's who, just the best talent for my money that's ever been assembled under any wrestling roster in history. I mean, it's mind-blowing when you look at it. So it's tough to pick out just a couple that, you know, I've never tangled with before that I'd like to wrestle, because it's really like you could pick anyone out of a hat and I'd be, oh, I'm stoked for this. So it's a really tough question to answer.
Yeah, I mean, it's especially when you add in all the people who come in from CMLL or NJPW, you've got just so many different people coming in and having great matches in AEW, so the list is kind of endless right now.
It totally is, you're right. How about you? Is there anything you'd like to see?
I mean, honestly, man, Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta are two of the people that have impressed me quite a bit since coming to AEW. I think matches with either of them would make a lot of fans happy as far as you being their opponent. But yeah, man, the Battle of the Kyles, that is something you have to revisit at some point once Fletcher's healthy again, because sure. I think just for the way the fans reacted to it and were just chanting for both of you during the match, it was one of those moments that, like, it's organic, you know, you can't force something like that, and it just makes it more special.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are little gifts that sometimes the audience hands you, and you just got to take them.
For sure. So the one thing that I always like to do to kind of wrap things up to get you to talk about something that's not pro wrestling related is I like to have wrestlers review a movie they've seen recently. That doesn't mean it has to be a recent movie, though. So is there anything that you've sat down and watched recently that you want to talk about?
What did I just recently watch? Trying to rack my brain. What did I watch? I've been watching some shows. Movie.
I mean, if you want to talk about a show, sometimes people do that.
That new Predator movie. Have you seen that one? Badlands?
Oh, yes. Did you
enjoy it?
I loved it. What about you?
Yeah, me too. Oh, yeah, I thought it was sick. It was such a cool different take, you know, making the Predator the protagonist and the underdog. It was like, yeah, I enjoyed it. And then I love that scene at the end when they're like, uh-oh, mom's here. And they're all scared of the Predator women. I just can't wait to see where that goes. It's pretty cool.
I don't know if you were aware of this, but it was the same guy who did Prey, Dan Trachtenberg.
Yeah, I loved Prey, too.
Prey is my top. Like, you know, I was born in the 80s. I grew up with that original Predator being an iconic movie. But Prey shot to the top of my list immediately when I saw it. And that and Badlands, I think, are both along the same lines of quality. They're both incredible.
Yeah, and the animated one was nothing to sleep on either, if you've seen it.
I did. I'm trying to remember Predator. What was
Killer
the
of
name?
Killers or something.
Yeah, where it was like 3 different timelines and 3
Yeah,
different
yeah, it was cool.
stories. I think that was also Dan Trachtenberg. Now that you mention it, so
Nice.
yeah, they kind of put the franchise in the hands of somebody who really seems to know what he's doing and enjoys it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, yeah,
What did
absolutely.
you think of Elle Fanning doing the double role in Badlands?
Yeah, it was well done. It was really well done.
Yeah, honestly, after I saw it, I'm like, this is one of those roles that she should win awards for that she's not going to because these kind of movies get ignored.
I know. They're always so under the radar, right?
Well, I mean, she's like the only humanoid kind of character, even though she's a robot. Like, she's the only character the audience has to connect to, and she had so much to do being the only
Right.
one speaking English. And yeah, I thought she did a great job.
Hmm.
But yeah, you'd mentioned you've been watching some shows. You got anything there? Like, what kind of shows
Um,
you've been watching?
well, I just got caught up on that Invincible show. I know there's like one episode left of the season, and then I've been watching that Alone show, where they're trapped in the wilderness, and I'm obsessed with that show where they're just surviving as long as they possibly can.
That
Something about
is,
it is just calming and
yeah.
therapeutic for me to watch, and also anxiety inducing, and just to cheer for everyone, and just it's heartbreaking at sometimes, but it's so good.
That is one of those shows that a lot of people have told me I should watch. I haven't gotten around to it, but Invincible is a very fun show. I really enjoy that one.
Yeah, yeah, it's really good. Shockingly violent.
Yeah, like for the animation style, you don't expect that level of violence, but it's pretty accurate to the comics from what I've been told. I never really read the comics, but
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the book either, but I've been told it's close, and I guess they barely tapped the source material too, so I guess there's a lot of show to go. So we'll see.
yeah, I mean with the comic stuff they go forever and they get so deep with that. So hopefully the show lasts long enough to actually touch on most of it. You never know
Yeah,
these
yeah,
days. Just streaming shows just you never know how long they're going to go for.
yeah. It's fair.
It's unfortunate, but it's cool that we're getting stuff like that too because it's such a different entry into the superhero genre.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm digging it for sure.